What if everything you thought you knew about porn was an illusion? What if the scenes that looked so intense, so passionate, were less about real desire and more about performance under pressure? This is the hidden reality behind an industry built on fantasy, where appearances rule and truth hides in the shadows. For viewers, porn seems straightforward. You press play, you see actors, you assume everyone on screen is fully aroused and fully engaged. That assumption has shaped decades of expectations about sex. But the truth is far messier. Actors in adult films are professionals. Like stage performers or stunt doubles, they do not always feel what they portray. Arousal is not guaranteed just because the cameras are rolling. Behind the scenes, it often takes effort, focus, and strategy to appear convincingly in the moment. Why is that? Because filming conditions are designed for the audience, not for intimacy. Bright lights bear down on the set. Dozens of people may be standing behind the camera. Scenes are interrupted repeatedly to fix makeup, adjust angles, or change positions. The spontaneity that fuels genuine arousal is stripped away. Psychologists who have spoken with performers describe a common pattern. Actors learn to separate their real emotions from the performance. They train themselves to treat sex as choreography. Like dancers hitting marks on a stage, they must deliver movement and expression on cue, even if the inner feeling is absent. This does not mean actors never feel aroused. It means the industry cannot depend on arousal alone. The job requires reliability regardless of mood, energy, or desire. That is why medication, stimulants, or specific routines are sometimes used to help actors maintain performance under unnatural circumstances. Think about how movies are made. A romantic kiss in a film might look effortless, but behind the camera, it is repeated dozens of times with bright lights and direction. The emotion you see is created for you, not always felt by the actors themselves. Pornography works in exactly the same way. The problem is that audiences rarely think of it as acting. Because porn depicts real physical acts, many assume the emotions are real too. That misunderstanding creates confusion about sex in real life. Viewers start expecting partners to behave like performers. They start assuming arousal can be switched on like a light whenever circumstances demand. Researchers studying frequent porn users have found patterns of dissatisfaction. Some report difficulty experiencing arousal in everyday intimacy after long exposure to staged fantasies. Others develop anxiety about performance, believing they should mimic what they see on screen. These issues highlight how strongly the illusion affects real relationships. Inside the industry, performers are candid about this disconnect. Some admit that scenes can feel mechanical, repetitive, or exhausting. Others say that while they may occasionally enjoy aspects of the work, the constant interruptions make sustained desire nearly impossible. They must rely on mental discipline rather than natural passion. This also explains why so many actors describe the job as work rather than play. The paycheck, not the pleasure, is the motivator. Like any job, there are good days and bad days. But the camera never reveals the fatigue, the nerves, or the lack of connection. One actor once compared it to smiling for a photograph when you are in no mood to smile. The expression may look genuine to the viewer, but it is a mask maintained for the sake of the final image. The same applies to porn performances. Why does the myth of constant arousal persist? Because the industry depends on illusion. If audiences believed that much of what they see is staged without genuine desire, the fantasy would weaken. So producers design everything to sustain the illusion that passion is endless and effortless. Editing plays a huge role. Scenes are cut to remove awkward pauses. Angles are chosen to highlight intensity. Soundtracks exaggerate reactions. By the time the final product reaches viewers, it looks seamless and natural, even if the filming process was anything but. Another reason the myth survives is silence. Actors face stigma if they admit to struggling with arousal on set. Many worry that revealing too much will harm their careers or fuel criticism of the industry. So only fragments of the truth emerge, and rumors fill the gaps. And yet, when you step back, it becomes obvious. No human being can feel aroused on demand for hours under pressure. No one can sustain desire through constant interruptions, stage directions, and harsh lighting. Porn actors are no different from any of us in that regard. For the actors themselves, this disconnect can have consequences. Some develop emotional detachment from sex outside of work. Others speak of burnout, struggling to reconcile their professional life with personal intimacy. The toll is real, even if it rarely reaches the screen. For society, the bigger issue is what happens when illusions shape expectations. Young viewers who have never experienced real intimacy may believe porn is an instruction manual. They may assume partners should behave like actors, never pausing, never struggling, never hesitating. That expectation creates disappointment, pressure, and sometimes shame. This is why educators stress the importance of media literacy around porn. Just as we teach students that action movies do not reflect real violence or romance films do not guarantee happy endings, we need to understand porn as performance, not reality. Without that awareness, the gap between fantasy and experience can harm real relationships. The irony is that many performers themselves understand this better than anyone. They know their work is illusion. They know viewers often misunderstand. Some even try to raise awareness by speaking openly about the difference. What they reveal is sobering, that the body can go through motions without desire, that pleasure can be staged convincingly without being felt, that what entertains millions may sometimes be emotionally empty for those creating it. This does not mean porn has no value. It means we must consume it with eyes open. It means we should not measure our own experiences against its standards. It means understanding that behind the screen are people doing a job, not living a fantasy. And this brings us to the lesson. Do not let illusions define your reality. Whether in relationships, success, or self-worth, never mistake performance for truth. Behind every flawless image, every perfect scene, is a human story far more complicated than what you see. If this story gave you a new perspective, hit like so more people can hear it. Share it with someone who confuses fantasy for reality, and subscribe so you never miss the chance to see what really hides behind the headlines.